Hi, hello, and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to take a course in HTML. We're going to cover all the basics in HTML and create some beautiful stuff, and then going to jump to another tutorials kind of including all of the HTML and CSS and JavaScript. That after ending with creating the course of the three elements or these three languages: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And before I'm going to start anything, I'm going just to refer to you what is the HTML and what is the JavaScript and what is the CSS. HTML is just the structure of the web. Everything, every lines we're going to write is going to be inside of the HTML file. And HTML, it just stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext Markup Language, and it just, as I said already, it is just the structure of the web, including all the headers or the paragraphs and all of that things. Then we have something called CSS, and it just stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and that's just its role, just playing the role that it's playing is kind of giving the colors, and when we hover with the mouse it give us something like a different color and different shapes and all of that, setting the width and the height of the items and all of that. JavaScript, it is the language of that browser. It's used a lot for creating games, like kind of games, active games, make the of course on the browser, web in general, and also JavaScript allow us to do some transformations, kind like scrolling up and down. When we scroll down, some elements going to reveal to us at the top, and also when we click on some button, it's going to drop us some different or another page of inside of the main page. We click on a button, it's going to drop us something that is JavaScript to allow us to do that. But that is the first episode or the first course we have here, just the HTML. I'm not going to confuse you by putting CSS and JavaScript. We're going to just take today HTML and cover everything. As you see now on my desktop, I'm going to create a folder and call it, for instance, web development. I'm sorry, development, and hit enter. Inside this web development, I'm going to create another folder. I'll call it rename. I'll call it HTML. Like the course of HTML, everything going to include inside the HTML. Then I'm going just to put this in the corner here. I'm going to drag it and put it in my editor. I'm using today Visual Studio Code. If you watch my tutorials about how to bring separate projects like revealing items, drop button and all of that, I used the Sublime Text editor, but today I'm going with Visual Studio Code. Now, as you see here, this is the web development, the folder that we already created. Inside of there is the HTML folder. I click on the HTML folder. As you see here, this little plus here on a file, I'm just going to click on it, new file. I'm going to call it index.html and hit enter. As you see, automatically added to this page. I'm going to close this from here, and I'll go to view. I'm going to this command palette, click on it, and then I have this live server. I'm going to open it with a live server. Now I open it with my with just live server. Now everything we're going to type it inside this element, just automatically after saving it, is going to add here. Now I'll save is going to change here. I don't know why it's not changing. Like view command. Here it is. Let me try it again. Now let us all of this. Let me reload this. So inside the index, I'm going just like a tip or trick in the Visual Studio Code. Before I jump to HTML, if you don't have the view, if you click in view and this command live server and it's not here, what you're going to do, go into this extensions right here, and the shortcut for the Ctrl+Shift+X. Click on it. Here, look out for live server. Click on it and download it, and it's going to set up with you. That's it. Let me close it from here. Here, I'm just going to do this exclamation mark and hit enter. Like this. It's going to give me this boilerplate, and this boilerplate actually just a static, like the syntax. So we're going to write everything, or HTML, or in this page. We're going everything now. We're going to do it just inside this body. But let me explain what is there at the up. There is something called Doctype Html. This is just document type. The type of the source of this document is just an HTML file, hypertext markup language, as I said already. And the HTML language, this is lang, stands for the language. I set it here for English, automatically added. And inside of the head, this head, everything in here, everything in this part here. There is the tar set Utify 8, and there is this meta again, but the important thing to know is this one here. This one is to control the width and the height of when you jump from one device to another device. So if you are on a desktop, it's going to display in a width and in a width, but on small screens like mobile phones and all of that, is going to display in another, like you adjusting everything, make it responsive for all devices. So this line here is quite important, and in Sublime Text by default is not existing in version 3, Sublime Text 3, but I don't know exactly if it's provided in Sublime Text 4 or not, but you can just copy it from here. We remember name equal viewport, content width equal device width, and initial scale equals 0.0. And this document here, title, if I here, for instance, call another thing like HTML, or let me go with HTML, like this. Save. If I went here, as you see at the top, is going to create for me .html error here. So if I add anything, save it, is going to change automatically at this title here. But let us just go with HTML. So inside the body here, I'm going to start with the headings. Each one, it just means a header 1, and is going to display in a big width. So I'll go with a header 1. If I save it, as you see at the top here, is going to be header 1, and it's bigger. If I create it here H2 and hit tab, is going on, then going to type header 2, save. It's a little bit smaller, and again for H3, header 3, H4, header 4, and for instance H5, header 5. Let me save this. As you see, increasing the number, the size of the text is going in decreasing, like smaller size, and so on. And you could go to the infinite of this. But what you have to notice more that we already use a lot in our pages, it is the 3 up here, the H4, the H1 and H2 and H3, and you could just get rid of this H1 and H2. We're going to get to know how to make the size and all of that using CSS, but now just leave it with the structure. And also I'll go with something called the break. When we type something like break, it's going to give me a space ender. So let me show you. Before that, I'll go like a P. P, it stands for paragraph, and if I want to type like a big paragraph or something like that, just insert it inside of the P. Go with lorem now, lorem, and hit tab. It's going to be to give me these tags, as you see here. Let me go at the first. So, if I remove this break here, like this, and save it, the P is going to flow a little bit to the top. But if I reverse this break here and hit save, it's going to give me like a space between the elements where I put the break here. And also there is another one called the HR, and it just give us like a line between the elements if you want that. So I typed here HR tag, and save is give me this line here. So it's cool to use it if you want that. So after that, there is something like a paragraph, and inside this paragraph, if you want to make like add some styling, so let me before that I'll go with P. I'll do like Idri Logic is a beautiful channel, like this. Save. Let me go here with something like HR and give it a line. And this beautiful channel, if I want to make this Logic like bold, all I gotta do just do the B and then hit tab and then Control V. It's going to give me bold, as you see it in here. It's bold now. And also, if I want to make this channel or this beautiful in italic, I'm going just to type I and pass the text inside of I, and it's, as you see here, beautiful now. It's italic. Now let me do something here. Just don't take this into your memory. We're going to do everything. The body of 10%, like this, to give you that space at the bottom. Alright, now we covered a bunch of things in here, and also we're going to take something, let me separate with the HR, save it, add another line here of a line. So let me now show you the older list and older list. So UL is stand for an older list. If I type UL, hit tab, automatically is going to give you this. Then inside of the li, it stands just for the list. Click L, click tab, and insert something inside of here, like HTML is stands for hypertext markup language, like this. If I save it, as you see here at the before here, this dot, and if I want not to add the dots, we could just copy this, or just let me copy this line in here, or just leave it as it is. And I don't want the dot. For instance, I want something else inside of the dot, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So let me copy this here and it passes. So dots, and we could go as many as we want dots. So if we don't want the dot, we want, for instance, the numbers there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go with older list. Inside of here, I'll go with li, and say for CSS stands, for instance, stands for cascading markup, cascading style sheet, like this. So as you see here is 1. CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and you could copy as you want, and as you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going on like this if you want to do that. And also we're going to take forms. So I'll go with form like this, hit tab. Now we don't need any actions on anything like that, just leave it form. Inside the form I'll go with input. Inside the input, the type, I'll give it like text. If I save it, as you see here, it added me something here to enter it. I'll go with something called name. I'll call it, for instance, name. I'll go here with placeholder, call it name. If I save it, as you see, name, added here, name in it. And also we could do the input. Inside of type text, we're going to do the password, like this. If I hit a tab, then type password, like this. So now, if I type every letter, it just displaying to me as dot, not showing on screen. Could we go with name, password, and also for placeholder, or go with password. If I save it, as you see here, name and password. Also, you could go with input of a type of email and name of email and place email, and also placeholder for email. If I save that, it's going to give me name and email and all of that. And also there is something like an input for numbers. If you want to don't import numbers, if I save that, if I click now on the numbers, as you see here, it's give me this slides in here to the top and bottom to jump from one number to another. Also, we could give it a placeholder and name of numbers, name of phone number, for instance, or number. I give it phone number. And also placeholder of phone number, like this. So now phone number, and go with something, I don't know, enter anything you want, and the password is like this. And here automatically you could, if you let me up to the end, I'm going to show you something cool. Now input phone number, and we could also, there is another one for input, and it is for the date, like this. If I save it, it's give me month and day and year. You could just show this, or click in this calendar right here and choose your day and all of that. And also there is something called input. We could make it submit like this, and it just give me a button. But let me do a break here to let this button jump to the next line. And we could all of them give them a break like this, and go so on. Let me smaller size this in 100. Now after everything gives a break, when I hit tab or hit save, it's going, as you see, everyone jumps to the next line. Let me first go at the top here. Style margin bottom 10%. It's not working, but I don't know why. Let me go with 100. Now it's better. Let me jump to submit. If you, for instance, type here your name like this, and then your email, for instance, I'll go with something dot or gmail.com, and password for 1, 2, 3, something like this, and phone number something like this. And this is not my phone number, there is two numbers changing here. You could just guess them, or just leave it with some numbers like this. Let me go with month 6th day, something like this, and year 2000, something like this. Then I click submit. It's going automatically to do an action if you give it a form. We're not going to dive into the backend now. We'll just give you the structure to like decorate and do that stuff. But there is something, if you want something here to be entered, like the email, you could give a value for required, like this, required. And also for the password should be required. And the date, for instance, should be required. Name, not important. So if I saved here and entered my name, for instance, and add, for instance, here the email something like this .com, for instance, and hit tab, submit is going to give me the password. It is, please fill out this field. It is cause I added here required. But if I remove this and pass in here and then click submit, it's giving me this field also required. So let me do something like this. Then I hit submit. Without filling the phone number or the name, is going to work automatically, as you see. But if you don't want to do that, just enter add required or just remove it. Now I'll do another HR like this. Now I'll go to show you tables. And I could do table. Hit tab. Inside the table I go with the T row, the T row. Inside of the T row, I want the T head to be something. So TH head. So for the first head, I want, for instance, like names, and also I want, for instance, last names, and something like number, phone number, for instance, number, phone. Let me give this a capital P. If I save it, as you see here, is good. Let me small the size it to its own width. Name, last name, and number, phone. Each one is going like in a line, and you could also go with T row. Inside T row, I want now T data. Names, I'll go with my name. Last name, TD. I'll go with also my last name. And phone number, I'll go with something like this. Something like this. If I save it, as you see here, name, last name, number, phone, and we could add as much as we want from this. If I save it, now it's setting in here. We could, for instance, go to the table and do some styling if we want that, but I'm not going to dive in more. Like the text align to the left. Reload is going to float them all to the left, as you see here. Last name, and also if we want to do some breaks and separate them, we're going to see that in styling by just giving here, for instance, some margin of margin of 5 pixels, for instance. Is going to push everything there. And also for T row, go with style and give some margin of warram save, or let me go with 10 pixels save. And also for TH, I'll go with some padding style, padding of 16 pixels save. Now everything is pushing, and you could do more stuff, but without confusing you, let all of this talk about it in styling. It's better to add more style and make it like a table, real table, like this. Now just doing this like beautiful now to set the tables. And I think now I covered much things, and also I'm going to give you something how to create buttons. So let me do an HR button, just type button, hit enter, double click me for instance, click. If I save it, as you see here, click. This is a button in here. That's it. And it is much more about HTML. And also now I'll show you how to code an image if you want that. So type img, hit tab, and here the source and the alt. Let me here download some pictures. So I'll go pictures, nature. I'll go with this picture right here. I'll go with save image as. I'll go with this folder, and save it in here. Now, as you see, it's error download GIF. I'm going in here in the source. I'll go with download this, and hit save. It is the image in here, and these are just a little describe of the picture, like a drop of water, like this. So for instance, this alt here is useful when the image not loading. For instance, if I remove the L and save it, the image is not loading, but the text here said to us it is a drop of water. So if the user have a slow connection to the internet, it's going to display this drop of water there, and it's going to load them the photo like this. This is how to call a photo in using HTML. Like this. And also there is other things. It is the, let me go with HR. Inside the HR there is something like, I'm sorry, HR just a line here. Now I'll go how to call links. I'll go with a href. This is the link. For instance, I'll go with Google, or just leave it here. Google.com copy it, go here, href, save it. Now it's give us, if I save, now after saving it, inside of here, like a go to Google, save. It's added here the link. If I click on it, it's going to give jump me to Google. And there is some properties if you want make the target underscore blank. Let me close this one in here. Blank. Save it. If I click now, it's going to jump me to the next page, and there is much properties you're going to get to know them with time. I think today I covered much things, but let me show you more things I think is useful. Like, let me go HR. I'll go with some P. Inside of this, I'll go with lorem. I'll go with like 20 words. Save. Now better. I'll go here. For instance, I want this lorem to emphasize it. I'll go with cat and go with am. Emphasize and put. It's like making it italic, but this is the italic one. And this is the bold. If I save it now, it's kind of different, but the emphasize and italic, I think they are the same, but you could use them both, or just use the styling as I prefer always, and give this like a class name or ID, then call it a style, and give it whatever you want, what text, and bold or not, or uppercase, and all of that. We're going to see all of that in CSS. So I think up to now I covered much things, and thank you for watching. See you for the next tutorials in CSS and JavaScript. And also, if you didn't watch my tutorials about much more things in creating like module, cloning module and all of that, you're going to find the links in the description. Just check it out and stay tuned.